Hello. Okay, welcome to my tour of Getting to Know the Quatrefoil Library, a course that I have designed as a prototype for standardizing training for desk volunteers and board members at the Quatrefoil Library. As you can see here on the introduction page, the goal of the course is to help you feel more equipped to volunteer and advocate for the Quatrefoil Library. It's the pitch of the entire program. And this course can be broken up into smaller pieces. The modules could be separated from the whole. I'm just going to run through the entirety of the course, and you can see all the different modules. Those could be separated and utilized at different stages of a volunteer's time with the Quatrefoil. And the goal of the course, at the end of the course, the volunteer will have crafted their own elevator speech that can be used when asked to represent the library at events, when speaking with prospective partners or donors, or sharing with folks about the library in their personal or professional life, or sitting at the desk, tabling, etc. And then there would be an assessment at the end. So I need to move through this. You can see how you move through the course. So I just needed to click that I had read through it. So here is the outline of the course. So you can see all of the different modules listed out here. The purpose of the course is to provide new volunteers and incoming board members with a big picture understanding of the Quatrefoil Library. By the end of the course, the learner will have created an elevator speech that they can use to advocate for the library, working at events or in the library. So that's the goal. And the theory is that a better equipped volunteer is a happier volunteer that feels like it's easier to volunteer and hence will volunteer more or for a longer period of time. So essentially just support and retention. So section 1 is an overview of the course. Section 2 is a history of the Quatrefoil Library, which has the pieces that are provenance pieces, and then practicing inserting oneself into that story and making it your own, looking at the organizational structure. And then there's quizzes at the end of each section. A module theory is what instructional design is, that people learn better, have a more robust experience if they're required to produce after receiving. Section 3 is advocacy and the Quatrefoil Library. So just the theory of advocacy, LGBTQ advocacy, and again, working on the pitch. Section 4 is current issues at the Quatrefoil Library. All of these modules can be updated, changed, amended. This is just to get started. Incorporating reflection activities, again, to bring the volunteer into the Quatrefoil in an immersive fashion, making it possible for the volunteer to hopefully make it their own experience and not just simply sitting at a desk for a few hours, and to hopefully get more satisfaction out of the experience, and then carry that outside of their time actually physically in the building, especially if they aren't in the building a lot. Some folks that work with the Quatrefoil Library don't actually need to be in the physical space. So then also touching on, this is possible modules as well, the future of the Quatrefoil Library, looking at sort of deeper issues. And the piece here that would be maybe of interest is for desk volunteers who have indicated that they would like to be part of planning or programming. This is a place where they can enter into it and feel more equipped to participate. And then also the activities, as you'll see, will ask them to engage in the conversation. Again, trying to deepen the meaning and the value of the experience working with Quatrefoil. Okay, and then there's a lot of resources here that can be utilized as we go along. All right, so I just need to complete and continue. It's a very user-friendly platform. Here I have inserted the history of the Quatrefoil library for perusal. Sections of it could be taken out or highlighted. Actually, it could be highlighted or annotated if that would make it easier. But my theory in putting it here is that asking volunteers, especially ones who don't volunteer that often, to go digging around to find the history of the Quatrefoil library, even if it's on our website, can be asking maybe more than they have capacity to handle at a given time. So having everything contained within the course, my idea is that it makes it more accessible and hence more usable. In order to get through the course, you do need to answer the questions properly. I can actually disable that for different modules so that, if someone doesn't get it wrong, they can still move through. I happen to know the answer. I did try to create questions that were fairly accessible. So in 1985, Dr. Matthew Stark, executive director of blank, told Dick and David there would be a rental space available in their new building. So it's the Minnesota Civil Liberties Union. Submit the answer. So I got 25 points for completing the unit. So we're going to continue. And then now that you have a better understanding of the Quatrefoil Library's history, I do have an audio recording here that I actually created. And the thought here is that you take a listen to the audio recording and look for pieces that you can incorporate into your speech. This is a bit hefty. It's about 45 minutes long. So that might not always be doable, but folks can skip through it. Okay, so then here's my first interactive piece for the module. Now that you've heard Dick's story, it's your turn to tell your story. Don't worry about being finished or polished. Just tell it and share it like it is. This is just a draft. It'll be coming later. So there's, for accessibility purposes, there's numerous methods to share a story. I'm just going to text my reply sample. And so I can move forward, send my reply and continue. And then here is the slide deck that moves us through the organizational structure of the Quatrefoil library, which is helpful. And it's a pretty easy video that folks can watch. And then ask the question, are you interested in applying to volunteer or join the board? If yes, what areas would you be interested in applying for? Please feel free to take a few sentences to explain. So again, giving plenty of opportunity for folks to engage and interact, and most importantly, to be heard and to feel like we are interested in what they have to offer or what they're looking to gain by volunteering at the Quatrefoil, not simply plugging in about at the desk. Okay. So as you can see, it's a pretty simple, straightforward, fast-moving presentation. So here I'm just going to sample an answer so I can move forward. Completed, let's continue. So here's the annual report, or any other document could be put in here. Just again, the idea is to house things in the same place so that it's easy for people to access them. All right, so after 35 years, what barrier breaking initiative was launched in 2021? That's the free membership for everyone. So I go for kind of a mastery-based instruction, and just having the questions sort of be instructive and affirming. Okay, and then, so now there's a test. Who are the founders of the Quatrefoil Library? Again, I'm just going for, reiteration so that we can get the facts straight, helping folks out, making it easier for them. Clearly, it's Dick and David. The first iteration of the Quatrefoil Library opened in 1986. I hope I remember that correctly. Yes. Dick said that early on. I think this is a good, I use this a lot. I think it's a memorable sort of factoid. And so I throw this in here. Dick said that early on, after finished reading a gay book, David would throw it away. And this is also in the recording that's available earlier. So the story is actually told in the history of the Quatrefoil and in the recording. The first location of the Quatrefoil. All right, so I did pass. Yay. All right, and moving on. So here's, other interesting information can be plugged in here. So while the Quatrefoil Library is a public library, it is supported by funding from members, donors, and grants only. So again, going for the mastery, reiteration. Continuing on. Sharing some other resources here and sharing more about the Quatrefoil Library and encouraging advocacy and taking that on. And this is instruction on how to create an elevator pitch. And so then here's an opportunity and the formula that can be used. So I help X do Y by doing Z. For example, I help the Quatrefoil Library support volunteers by creating, you could add in there, accessible, interesting educational materials. Okay, so here I'm just going to enter again that we have numerous methods of submission. And we'll just go with this. And to reply and continue. So again, using a combination of text and imagery. And this unit is an effort to bring you into the conversation. So this is kind of my favorite part. Here's where you can listen to somebody who's talking about the work that they do and how they've made changes in their library to be more focused on diversity, equity, inclusive, and accessible. So here I like to offer the opportunity for folks to again engage and share some of their ideas and concerns. And here again, learning about intersectionality, which is something that Paul had discussed with me as being something that he felt the library needed to bring more energy to. So I did research this and found this information. So according to Equality Network slide deck, the intersectional approach matters because it, again, I'm going for the mastery. So these are all true. So all of the above. And completed, let's continue. Again, sharing thoughts, keep it informal. We're just having a conversation. So I'm going to choose this one. And again, this is all a great way to make folks feel like they are, as it states, part of the conversation. It's kind of my theme. So here, this is an article from NPR. Again, this is a resource for folks to be taking notes to craft their own elevator speech. On a given summer evening, in addition to stacks filled with LGBTQ books, DVDs, and periodicals, you might happen upon an ice cream social for volunteers or a group playing, I can't remember, I think it is Dungeons and Dragons. Yes, that's what the article says, even though we probably could be playing Pin the Tail on the Donkey or Candyland. All right. And then please read the text from Quatrefoil Library's homepage. So this is from our homepage. And again, please share your thoughts about Quatrefoil Library being not just a library. Make a list of pros and cons. And again, these modules can be removed and set aside. We can do anything we want to. All right, and this is about the idea of the library being a third place, reading about that. And then this is another experimental idea, which is a shared annotated document. The link isn't working, but I would fix that. But this is where we would actually go in and be able to, and this is something that maybe the board could do, where we could read an article together and annotate it together and be able to read each other's annotations. So it's an interactive piece. And the idea is that volunteers could potentially do that too, to be able to read other people's annotations and contribute in order to feel like they are part of the conversation. Right, and this explains how to mark up. And then please share any thoughts, informal. And you could just say next to nothing, or you could write a whole dissertation and share that as well. So now this is the portion where we would work on the exercise of creating an elevator speech and giving lots of different options based on people's level of comfort. And okay, so now we have the coming to the end of the course where we are going to take a survey, and this also can be adapted. All right, so the hope is that strongly agree to understanding more about the Quatrefoil Library's history, how it's organized, what it has to offer the community, better understand my relationship to the Quatrefoil Library. Hopefully that exercise was helpful, and that you would recommend the course to your colleagues. Submit the answer. All right, and then any feedback, submit the survey. And there we are done with the Getting to Know the Quatrefoil Library course. Thank you very much. I hope you found it interesting. And again, any of this can be modified and used in different capacities and environments, whether it's a group, individuals, training on a large screen, independently on a phone, you know, any different devices. It's all adaptable. Thank you so much.